Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chilling Ice Cold Stories. If you guys ain't scared yet, you're about to be! This is Chilling Ice Cold Stories. Welcome back. I hope you guys are ready for some new really creepy, chilling ice cold stories today. I know I kind of go a little bit crazy with the scaredness and everything else, but why not? Oh, okay. Enough playing around though. If you're not scared yet, you're about to be. Welcome to Chilling Ice Cold Stories. So we just started our YouTube channel. This is the first actual podcast video audio that I'm doing on YouTube. So the only way you're hearing this right now is if you're on YouTube, unless I did put it on my podcast. But I don't know if I want to put it on there or not yet, so it may show up there. But hi, I'm your host. I'm Austin Bender, and I tell you guys the most chilling ice cold stories that I can find, and you get the spooky chills with these spooky stories. So welcome. And if you're new, Chilling Ice Cold Stories is a mostly audio YouTube channel with real chilling stories, the most scariest of scary, eeriest of eerie, spookiest of spooky, and more bloody than bloody. These stories are frightening and different. Come listen in on some scary stories that may or may not cause insomnia. I hope you guys are ready to get started today. I have a whole list. And we're about to get started. So again, if you have your own stories, though, feel free to send them to me at my email. You can email me at chillingstorieswithaustin@gmail.com. I did not get any emails except Google. Take the next step by customizing your Google account. But I don't have any information yet. But if you guys want to send me some chilling stories, please make sure and feel free to do so. So the first story that we got here is labeled Echoes of the Past. A young bachelor at the beginning of his career became very successful very quickly, so he bought himself a house. One morning, he awoke to the sound of running water. He rushed to the bathroom and saw that the bathtub faucet was running on full blast. He was perturbed by this, and as he lived alone, a week later it happened again, only this time it wasn't just one faucet, it was all the faucets in the house. The young man called a repairman to fix the pipes and the water damage, but as it turned out, the pipes weren't broken. The repairman, a local, seemed visibly shaken. "What's wrong?" the bachelor asked. "The woman who lived here before you," said the repairman. "She drowned in that bathtub." Okay. Was that good enough? I don't know, guys. These stories that I get sent, I don't know. They almost seem to me like they're made up. They're not finished. It's like nothing else is ever said. It's like they're left off and they don't seem right. So, I don't know. Let's read another one from this page. The Lonely Ferris Wheel. The Lonely Ferris Wheel. The carnival came to town every summer, and this year was no different. But Charlie had just started working there, so he didn't know what the rest of the workers knew about the Ferris wheel. He was in charge of operating. The first night of the carnival was bustling with people, but as it came time to close, it was practically a ghost town. However, there was one boy who showed up at the last minute. "One for the Ferris wheel, please," the boy said, giving Charlie a ticket. Charlie looked around. "Where are your parents?" he asked the little boy. The boy just took his seat and didn't answer. Unsure of what to do, he let the boy go on the ride, but when the ride was over, the boy was no longer in his seat. Charlie ran to his boss, telling the story. The boss guy said, "Oh, that's Thomas." He handed Charlie a clipping from an old newspaper. It had the boy's picture in the headline, "Boy Falls from Ferris Wheel, 8 years old." These are the most haunted place in America, according to paranormal experts. Okay. So I want to share this little clippet from the most haunted places in the world, or in America. And the one is Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Now, you guys may not know, but I live in Pennsylvania, and I've been to the Gettysburg battlefield many, many times. And basically, it was a deadly battle of the Civil War. And when I was there, I even found some like old bullets and stuff, and shrapnel, all kinds of different stuff, that was old. There's just so much stuff everywhere. But here is a little topic that just talks about Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I figure why not add this into our podcast episode today. So Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, a haunting history lesson. The 3-day Battle of Gettysburg claimed the lives of more than 50,000 men from both the Confederate and Union armies, making it the deadliest battle of the Civil War. It's only natural there is some residual energy here, says Joe Shevla, manager of Ghostly Images of Gettysburg Ghost Tours. I'd say it's the most haunted small town in America. The story. A few years back, Shelvla was leading a group of school children on a history tour of the Jenny Wade house, the site where Jenny Wade, the only civilian remembered to have died in the Civil War, was killed by a stray bullet. The group was walking down the stairs from the second floor when Shelva and the children noticed a young boy in Civil War era attire standing on the landing. A moment later, the boy vanished. So did the students, who dashed back up the stairs in fear. After the sighting, the group didn't stick around to finish their tour. They went straight back to their bus and left, he says. Other sites in Gettysburg, along with the Jenny Wade house at 528 Baltimore Street, Shevla recommends visiting the Gettysburg Orphanage located nearby at 777 Baltimore Street, and the Sacks-Covered Bridge spanning Marsh Creek, on the banks of which the Confederate Army set up an ill-fated field hospital. Read up to 10 more true ghost stories from the most haunted place in the world. Another link. So here is another one. Let's read one from Eastern State Penitentiary. Another one in Pennsylvania. Jeez. Let's read a story from the Eastern State Penitentiary. It is in Philadelphia. So I was by that area as well. I guess I've been to all these places. So, Philadelphia's Eastern State Penitentiary was home to some of the country's most notorious criminals, and 150 years ago, the punishments themselves were enough to give you chills. Not only was it one of the first prisons to institute solitary confinement, which led to insanity, but prisoners also were left wet in the cold until ice formed in their bodies, or given an iron gag that made their tongues bleed. In the 1990s, a locksmith was helping restore a cell when he says a negative energy overcame him and left him temporarily paralyzed before he saw visions of faces appear on the walls. Since then, countless of other true ghost stories have emerged from the visitors who have reported seeing shadowy figures or hearing eerie giggles, whispers, and wails. Find out, and there's another one, 15 best haunted house in America. So, let's get out of this Reader's Digest loophole and go find something else. But that's pretty chilly. That one there about like iron gags and wet out in the cold. Like, geez, how harsh can you be? We have one here, and it's called The Walking Dead. I am a psychiatric nurse, and early in my career, I worked at a residential mental health facility. One of our residents was an elective mute, which means that he couldn't talk, but there were no medical reasons as to why. He had spoken earlier in his life and in fact seemed quite normal back then, with the exception of being close to 7 feet tall. He'd been raised in the Deep South and joined the military when he was 19, but one night he'd vanished. He was declared AWOL, and eventually he was declared missing and dead. 10 years later, however, a 7-foot-tall man walked into a VA hospital emergency room in my part of the Midwest and said to the receptionist, "My name is Marion Dushin," not the real name, "and I've been dead for 10 years. Those were the last words he ever spoke. He was covered with dust and he was wearing the same clothes he'd been reported to be wearing the night he vanished. His social security number had not been used and he had no identification on his person. However, they were able to identify him, I guess via fingerprints. The family was notified, but they said they had already grieved their lost man and that whomever was claiming to be him simply could not be. They demanded not to be contacted again. Marion paced all day, every day, moving his mouth that looked like talking or muttering, but no sound came out. He had an unnerving habit of throwing his head back with his mouth wide open as if he were laughing heartily, but not even a breath could be heard. If I talked to him, he appeared to listen, periodically throwing his head back in that laughing, mimicking way of his. Various medications were tried, but they did not affect him either positively or negatively. Occupational therapy did nothing because Marion would just grin and, unless told to stay put, he'd get up and start pacing again. On my last day at that job, the last thing I saw was Marion, pacing in the parking lot, throwing his head back to laugh. Later, I wanted to follow along. I've been dealing with a ghost. All these years later, I still don't know. Oh, that is chilling. We really don't know if that was true or not, but I'm thinking it is. Now here's the unrest stop. We read that back a while ago, back in I believe season 1, episode number 4. I believe we read that in. No, maybe it was season 3. I don't remember. Actually, it might have been season 2. No, it was season 3. The unrest stop. And that was where about the mother and all that. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure you check out season 1, episode 3, Ice Cold Stories, Craigslist, and True Killers. True Chillers. So wow, that was a little bit weird. So here we have a story that is titled The Demon's Room. I worked as a forensic nurse in a hospital's lockup unit. We had one older lady who swore she was being haunted and abused by a demon she would call Tiberius. So many crazy things happened while she was on the unit. We go into the room, do normal care, leave, and seconds later, she starts screaming bloody murder. We'd run into the room to find her looking like she'd been in a fight with a boxing champ. Bloody lip, black eye, markings all over her body. No one ever saw her doing this stuff to herself. Things would get moved around the room by themselves. At one point, she was in protective restraints because the doctor thought she was hurting herself. There was no way she could have moved or done anything to herself while in these restraints. But new marks would appear on her tray/cart would be across the room. The room was secure, so there was no way someone else was doing this. When we asked her questions, she'd just say it was Tiberius. After she was discharged, we always had trouble with that room. If there was going to be a rapid response or code, it happened in that room. One night, a guard reported lights blinking on and off. It was in that room. That gave me some chills. Oh my. That's a really, 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 really chilling story. Wow. Next up on our list is the Ghosts of Stone's Public House. Named one of the most haunted restaurants in the U.S., Stone's Public House in Ashland, Massachusetts, doesn't have a ghost problem. It has a ghosts problem. Janet Morazzani has been a resident of Ashland's most of her life, and now works as a bartender and manager at the inn, which was built by John Stone in 1832. Even before she started working at Stone's Public House, she heard stories about a little boy that had died of influenza who now roamed the halls. It makes sense, Morazzani told Today, since it has been used to house the sick during the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. That's where they would quarantine all the sick people, she said. Apparently quite a few souls have passed just due to that. That's not even spooky. It sounds like something you'd hear on the news. Okay. Here we have a story that is labeled the Red Box Phone. It's actually from Creepypasta. I know some of you guys are a really big fan of that. It's a 17-minute read, so let's get reading. Those of a certain age who grew up in the UK remember the old-style red phone boxes emblazoned with the royal crown and with the motif telephone written above their glass-paneled swing doors. In fact, you've probably seen photographs of those booths, which are regarded as quintessentially British, acting as tourist attractions in London and elsewhere. There aren't many active red booths left these days, as there isn't much call for payphones in general. Not in an age where everybody carries a smartphone. Nevertheless, one such booth is central to the story. I'm going to tell you a paranormal event which occurred 25 years ago while I was still in my teens and going through a particularly traumatic time in my life. I grew up in a small village located in the rural south of England, a quaint but unremarkable hamlet with little to mark it out from hundreds of others dotted across the home counties. We lived in a cramped but cozy bungalow situated in a housing estate on the edge of the village. Across the street from us stood a forest that dated back to Anglo-Saxon times, and it was inevitably the site of various local legends. The phone booth in question was set just off the pavement and on the forest's edge, facing directly out towards the woods. It was a local landmark of sorts. I'm sorry. The area was dimly lit and isolated at night, and so became a convenient place for local teens to meet at the weekends, to smoke, drink, and engage in clumsy sexual encounters. I'll admit to frequenting the site myself for those very reasons. At first, I was looking for these cheap thrills, but in time I went there just to escape from the house, and that's when these strange events began. I can't fully explain what happened all those years ago, but I believe I owe my life to that mysterious phone box and those paranormal entities somehow tied to it. Okay, this just goes on, and I really don't have time to read it. Um, I really just don't, because to me it just seems like it's like a funny joke, or like not really a funny joke, but like a waste of my time, basically. I'm sorry. Anyway, continuing on, let's find a new story because creepy pastas are really, really good, but they're too long for me to sit here and read forever and ever and ever. So, let's see. But again, I just want to quickly remind you guys, if you have your own stories, please send them over to me because I need them. What is this thing? This is so stupid too. It's Spirit Halloween. What in the world? Like, we need some better, like, stories, like, and true ones. Super creepy true stories. We need something true. There we go. Here's some reader ones. No. Here we go. Okay. Let's read The Chair. I don't know about you guys, but I just really feel chilled right now. Because why wouldn't we? It's chilling, ice cold stories. I don't know. You guys tell me, was that chilling enough for you? Because this is Chilling Ice Cold Stories, and they're supposed to be chilling, but some of these I find are really crappy. But that last one there, whew, the chair. I don't know about that, guys, but she laid that cup of milk there like she was feeding her own children poison. Ugh. That really just really creeps me out. Ooh, man. Yeah, that's creepy. Very, very creepy. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in to Chilling Ice Cold Stories. And if you didn't get scared this time, we got more coming. Stay tuned and don't get too scared. Hey guys, it's your host Austin Bender. Thank you all for tuning in to Chilling Ice Cold Stories today. I hope they were creepy enough for you, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here very, very soon. Thank you so much for tuning in to Season 1, Episode number 7 of Chilling Ice Cold Stories for these paranormal weird ones, chairs, and more. Have a fantastic day, and don't get too scared. Bye, everybody.